Hey everyone, my name is Amoria, and today let's talk about consciousness. I'm now on a path to deconstruction and deconstructing my original Christian beliefs, and I've become a lot more interested in talking about consciousness instead. Consciousness itself is really hard to define. Even the top scientists and researchers have a hard time agreeing on one definition. But we can generally define it as someone's awareness of their surroundings, thoughts, experiences, feelings, etc. A lot of people believe that consciousness only exists within humans, that it is a characteristic of being alive as a human. However, I do not agree. I don't think that consciousness is something that only humans experience. This actually begins to tie in with some of my spiritual beliefs after having left Christianity, which as of right now, I would define as panpsychism. Before defining that, I want to talk about a few instances of ego death that I've experienced. During one of my ego deaths, I was pondering why we're here, especially after leaving my religion. And as I was meditating, I saw the shape of something that I can only describe as a donut that was rotating in on itself. And I understood this visual to be my answer, which, side note, is how my synesthesia works, where concepts are answers. My synesthesia is pre-linguistic. Anyway, so this donut that was rotating in on itself, it was made up of a grid, and when I zoomed in, each little square of the grid was a fractal. And each fractal, as I looked into it, was going through endless snapshots of anyone that I've ever met in my life, or anything I've ever seen in my life, and everything that has ever existed. Each fractal was completely equivalent to any other fractal within the grid, with every fractal encompassing anything that ever existed. Then I started to understand that maybe things, when zooming way out in the universe, are the same exact things as when you zoom way in into life on the earth. Black holes are the same as racism, is the same as classism, is the same as kidnapping, is the same as a hurricane. Side note, I saw a theory that maybe the universe is the shape of this rotating donut. I had never seen that shape before. I didn't know it had a name until about a year later when I stumbled across it when I was researching sacred geometry. I found out that that is a real shape called a torus. And I've seen other theories that the universe is actually the shape of a torus, and that's why we perceive it to be ever expanding. And then I saw what seemed like people on a stage performing a play, and everyone was putting on costumes of lives. And then I saw the motion of a zipper zipping together. It meant that some larger consciousness is experiencing all of reality through each of our lives so that it can experience duality. So going back to panpsychism, that is the belief that consciousness is a fundamental feature of reality or the universe, that everything in the universe experiences some level of consciousness. That's why I don't think that consciousness is something that you only find in the human experience. One example that I feel supports my theory is mycelium and mycelium networks. They're underground networks that exchange information. Mycelium networks are worldwide. Also, they look like neural pathways in the brain. Besides that, we know that trees, when they know that they're in danger, they're going to be cut down, will grow their roots away from that danger. I would argue that is a conscious decision. We know that animals can be sentient and feel pain and emotions. I feel like what we think makes us special as people can actually be found in other creatures, but our egos just got a bit too big and wanted to genuinely believe that we were more special because we just needed meaning. But there's lots of meaning to be found everywhere. See? I think humans would be far better off if we didn't put ourselves on such a pedestal and feel like we're more important than everything else, or we're the smartest creatures that have ever existed on this planet. Nature itself is so intelligent, but I feel like you have to be much quieter to hear whatever truths that can be found. We as people just have to be humble enough to actually listen to nature and animals and learn very valuable lessons from them. Okay, now I just want to have a little adventure. Oh, these are thorns.